Hi everyone, this is Joy Banerjee from AIKT Support, and this time we will see how to set up your own lab in Docker with the help of AWS platform. Okay, so Amazon Cloud is great, and we are going to form our whole lab in AWS. So I will show you step by step what you need to follow. Okay, so basically what you need to do is you need to hit the launch instance button and you need to choose for free tier. Okay, as of now I've already exhausted my free tier, but you need to get a free tier, a free OS which we can really perform. Okay, this time I'm choosing it like Ubuntu 16.04, and you need to select. So you just need to go with the general purpose, and you need to make sure that you are just choosing the free tier, because why I'm you need to click next. And what I'm saying like this, again going with the default settings, because it is going to charge extra, and even I'm going with the same default for storage. And if you want to tag, you can put some tag into this particular machine and you just click next. And this time in this I need to make it as anywhere so that I can do a SSH from anywhere. Okay, and you can do review instant, and then you can launch it. Okay, so once you click launch, it is going to ask you to use a key pair. I have a one, so what I can do is I can acknowledge and use it. But for this particular video, what I believe is let's go and create a new uh, key pair, so that I can tell you that this particular key pair is going to give you a PM key. Okay, and in case you're using putty, how you will do it, how you need to really convert it to a PPK file, and then you can link it, and then you can take the console of the server. So I will let you know and go through exactly what are the steps you need to follow. So let's save this particular file and hit the launch instance. So what it will do is it will try to launch, and if you go to services and EC2, and then you need to go to this running instance tab. Okay, if you click running instance, and you will see there is an instance already in launch mode, and it is in a pending status. It is getting initialized, and this is the file which we have downloaded. Okay, so what you need to do is you need to use this particular file, okay, which is a docker test pem file, and we need to convert it with the putty gen. You need to have this particular file, and what you need to do is you need to go to file and load this particular key. Okay, so it's very simple. What you need to do is you need to select all files, and then you need to select that particular file, click OK, and what you need to do is you need to save it as a private key. Okay, so you hit save private key, click yes, and name it with a familiar name which you want to use. Like I will be using as docker test, and it will be an extension of ppk, because putty is going to use this ppk version. Okay, now you can see this ppk file is ready. So what we need to do is this time uh, we need to jump into launch putty. Okay, before that you can see this is the machine which we have launched, and this is the IP, public IP, which we can use. Let's do a refresh, and now you can see it is running state, and I can copy this IP and paste to a putty. Okay, and what I can do is I will love to really save a profile which help me to relog in the machine again. So what I can do is I can do a save. So before we do any changes, we need to load the profile, and I need to go to SSH, then authentication, and here I need to give the key, that private key which we have created, like ppk. Okay, so that is located in this location. I will click OK, and once this is done, I can go to the session and save this session again for in future. If we want to use it, we can use it that way. So in the authentication, you can see this is pointing to that particular ppk file. It's fine, and I can click open, and it will launch, and for the first time it will ask to put the fingerprint. I click yes, and then you need to put the ID. So by default, if you are using a Ubuntu flavor, the login ID would be Ubuntu, and then you will hit enter, and automatically it will really authenticate and log you in. Okay, so it's very simple. Now the machine is ready. So what we need to do is the first thing is which we need to do is we need to update this OS. Okay, so let's see the OS release first. So OS release, which you can see there is 16.04, and which is Ubuntu LTS. Okay, so now what we need to do is we need to update this particular package repository catalog which we have internally. Okay, so if you see this, it gives me an error that I am not logged in with the root. So what I can do is I can do sudo and then su with the root. Okay, so because if you are not having the privilege, it will not really let you run these commands. Okay, so now you can see we have switched the user to root, and now I can run this command like apt-get update. So this is really updating the repository information which we have, and with the satellite server. And once it is done, we also need to update like running upgrade. Okay, apt-get upgrade. So this is going to download few things. I will click yes, and it will take some while, and it will give some pop-ups. You just need to click OK and go ahead with the download. So once this particular upgrade is complete, then we can go ahead and set up our Docker engine in top of Ubuntu. Okay, so it is downloading. It will take some time. Now you can see it is scrolling and moving forward, and there will be a few pop-ups which we need to really click OK, and that is not really anything which advanced which we can capture here, but still in Ubuntu 16.4, when you can see it says like keep all the local version currently. So I'm not really going ahead and updating the things. So it is now it's done. Okay, that's great. So now what we can do is we can install Docker. Okay, so for that what we can do is apt-get install then docker.io. So this is basically a script again fetching from the internet, and it is going to deploy the whole Docker engine into this particular server with running a single command. It is the easiest way to install Docker in Ubuntu. Okay, now you can see the Docker is installed. So it's simple, right? So now what we can do is we can see the Docker engine, it is in running status or not. Okay, it shows running. Let me just run this once more, and now you can see it shows us active and running. That's great. Okay, so our Docker is ready. Now what we can do is we can see if we run Docker and then version, it will show up what exactly the version we are in. That is like Docker version 1.12.6. Okay, now what we can do, we can run few Docker commands like let's say Docker. Um, let's do it like we can run like help command as well. Like if we want to know what are the commands which we have. Okay, like we can write help. Now you can see these are the few commands which we can really run, like inspect, logout, and like history, build, create. Okay, images. So these are the switches which we can use, like commit, cp, right? So these are the switches which version which have just recently ran. Okay, so these are a few switches which we can use, and if you don't know, you can use like uh, dash dash then help. If you run docker, then the command, and then dash dash then help, it will going to list and let you know what are the switches and the help. So the first thing is what we can do is we can search, we can do docker search and search for a particular image which we want to use to create a container. Okay, so let's say we use like MySQL. If I do docker search MySQL, it is going to check the repository and check this is the MySQL versions which are available. Okay, and you can also see the stars. Stars are like rating, which are the popular, which are the best, and it also shows as officially okay. So that means it's been signed officially, which in case we require any support, so we can get it. Okay, so the star is the key, like we get the ratings that this is a good image. Okay, so what next we can do is we need to really pull this particular image locally to the machine. So for that we can do is like docker pull and then the image name, like in our case it is MySQL. and if you need a different vendor, then you will put a whole name how it shows us. Okay, so this time I'm using MySQL. So if I do this, you can see it is also tagging as latest, and it is going to download, and it's very quick. What it is doing is it is trying to download these images which are available in Docker repository, and it is downloading locally to the system. Okay, because once we use these images to create a Docker container, so it will be again fetching locally, not it is going to really go to the internet again to get the information. Okay, so this time you can see, like, if we run um, using a Docker and then images, then you can see this is the image which is also tagged as latest. So, and this is the image ID and when it has been downloaded and what is the size. So it is important that the image which we download, it's tagged with latest. Okay, so if we use Docker and then we need to create a container, then we need to use run, then use the switch ID which says interaction mode, and along with T which says like template. Okay, and then we are giving like then a shell like slash bin, then slash bash, so we can run like that. And when we running this and hit enter, well, ultimately we logs in to that particular container. Okay, now you can see the container ID is changed. Like previously it was logged in with root IP, and now it is with a root at the rate some numbers. And if you check the like OS release, now this time you can see we are in like Debian Linux. It's something different from the OS which we had here. So if you want to really log out from this particular container, what you need to do is you can do like mm, okay, so like we can like check the MySQL as well. So if we do like checking MySQL status, you can see it is not running. So what I can do is I can start the MySQL service into this particular container. So for that, what you need to do is we need to write a command like this, and you can see now it is initiating, and the service will be in a started mode in a few seconds. So now you can see it is started. So I can log in to this MySQL and check what are the databases are there. But before that, you can see we don't have any network tools, so we need to install network tools. And this time it is not unable to locate because we need to update the repository for this particular container as well. So once we update this, and it is updating and synced with the satellite server, so after that, when we install the network tools, this network tools installation command will run. Okay, so now you can see the network tools is installed. Now if we do a if config, it will show two IP addresses, one which is linked to our virtual Docker network card, which shows as Ethernet 0, another is loopback adapter. Okay, so from the IP, we these are the internal IPs from which they get connected with this particular containers. Okay, so the Ethernet 0, which is being mounted and mapped with the host machine Docker virtual link. Okay, so if you see the status of MySQL, now it is running. We can also log in to MySQL and check the databases that are we able to see, like log into it. And if you use this command, then we need to put the password, and now you can see we logged into MySQL. If we do show databases, and it will show up. Actually there is some issue with my keys. Okay, so you can see um, these are the databases. Okay, now we can do control PQ to log out from this particular container. If you write a quit or exit, that particular container going to shut. Okay, so what you need to do is you need to do control PQ, so that will really log out from that particular container. Now you can see we are logged into the base machine again. Okay, so this way you can create a container. And what next, like we can check that how the container is running and the status. So for that, what we can do is we can do like docker, then we can run ps. So the ps command is going to list the containers which are in running state. So this is basically showing the process of Docker. Okay, so now you can see this is the Docker machine which is already in running state. And if we want to check, like if you want to stop at a container, we need to copy the container, and now you can see this particular container is stopped. And if we run docker ps, so in that case we are not able to see any container, because that particular container process is being killed. Now you can see it's blank. Okay, to see the list of container, we need to use like docker ps and -a. So -a is going to use to list the containers which are in stop state or in an exited state as well. Like you can see the status is exited. Now this container we can again start it up. Like if you run a docker if you run like docker start container, then we can really start this particular container. Okay, so in case you want to see like docker ps, it is going to show you the live process containers which are running. And if you want to see like any container which is stop state, you need to run like docker ps -a. Okay, so we need to copy this container id. Okay, so I need to run the command which is docker start container. Okay, so we need to run docker start and then container id. Now you can see it is logged in. Now let's see how it looks. So now you can see this is again a logged in state, and this time if we want to really log into this particular container, in that case we need to use a different command which says like docker attach. Okay, attach and then particular container id. So in this particular method, you can see this particular MySQL is also mapped with the particular port which shows as 3306. Okay, and so we know now how to see a running container, how to see a container which is in stop state. Okay, now if you want to explore a few more commands with Docker, so what we can do is like Docker search CentOS. Let's say we are trying to run CentOS on top of Ubuntu, right? So now you can see we will see the same thing again. It shows us descriptions, stars, and officially okay. That means it is officially certified, and if we need any support for this particular CentOS, we can get it. Okay. So again, we need to follow the same method. We need to pull down this particular image to this particular machine. Like if you do docker pull, and then we need to do CentOS, then in that case it is going to pull the image from the satellite server directly to this particular machine. So once this is being downloaded, we can do like docker images. So it will show up the list of images which are available locally in this particular physical machine or a virtual machine which we have created. So if we run, now you can see it is downloaded and status. When we download, you can see it is also tagged as latest. Okay, so once it is tagged as latest, so it is not going to check in the internet again. So if we run docker images, now you can see we have the two image. The last time we have run for MySQL, and this time it is for CentOS. So let's create a container with this, like docker run. It is the same command -it, and then the CentOS, and this time again we are going to run it in bin slash bin slash bash. Okay, and hit enter. Again we logged into that particular container. You can see. Okay, so if you do check the OS release, so you can see it is CentOS Linux release 7.3 .1611. So we are logged into this particular container, and if we know how to pull the images, now we know how to pull the images, how to list the images, and to log out again we know that we need to use like control PQ. So now you can see we are in the base machine, and the OS version which you can see is Ubuntu. And if you do a docker ps, it is going to list the running docker processes. Okay, so now you can see two containers are running. One is for 35 seconds, another is for since 3 minutes. So this is how you can really check the status. This is how you can really create a docker container. So now let's say I need to log into a particular container. So in that case, we need to use like docker attach, then the container ID. Okay, and now you can see I'm logged into this particular container. So if you run top command, you can see how thin it is. It's just running a list of processes which are really triggered and online or in a running process. So it is very resource intense container. So it is not going to eat up or resource hungry solution. That is why the Docker is capturing the whole market. So if you compare with the virtual machines, I really like about this particular Docker, and it is really resource optimized system and architecture. It's basically a kernel virtualization which we know. And if we do exit, that means we are just killing the process of that particular container. So if you do docker ps, you can see that CentOS is not visible now because this particular container is being killed with the command exit. Okay, so if you want to really start this particular container again, so we need to have this particular container id. Okay, so now you can see we have this particular id, so I need to copy the id and I need to do a paste. Basically I need to use the correct id. So this is the id. Basically the tag is sometimes works, sometimes doesn't. So we need to use the id, which is much better way to do it. Like I will use like this id. Now you can see it is started, and if you do a docker ps, so it will show that this particular container is in its started mode. Okay, so I can also can attach to this particular container again, and now you can see I'm already logged into this particular container with the help of docker attach command. Okay, so if we do control pq instead of doing exit, now we are logged in, and this particular docker container is in running state, not in a stop state. Okay, so if we do docker sorry if we do docker status. Okay, so docker stats basically, so it is going to list the dockers, and will also show up how much is the cpu utilization, how much the memory utilization. Okay, and what exactly the network traffic is flowing from this particular container. So this is very good command to really monitor your docker containers, which is docker stats. Okay, so this is how you work with this particular docker, and now you know how to build your own lab with docker, and you can do some r&d with docker. Okay, so now you know how to create docker, how to pull images, how to create how to start and stop a docker container. So hope this particular video is informative, and if you like this, and please hit the like button, do subscribe our channel, because we are working and we are really producing so many other videos in weekly basis, and we are going to shoot out 2 videos in a single week just for you. So shoot out your queries if you have any questions. If you want to really create any specific video on docker or any other technology, just let us know in the comments. Subscribe on the channel. You need to subscribe, do not miss out that for the new video updates. Thank you very much. This is Joy Banerjee signing off from AI Support.